In 2002, a boy named Jin-woo, a high school student in a small Korean village, was known for being lazy and causing trouble instead of studying. His life was filled with mischief alongside his four friends: Dong-han, who loved to eat and sleep; Pyongju, who was always sleepy and dreamed a lot; Taewon, who had inappropriate thoughts; and Sunbin, the most handsome of the group. One day, the five boys walked into their classroom, and Jinwoo noticed Sha, the most beautiful and smart girl in school. All his friends had a crush on her, but Jinwoo felt she was out of his reach. He felt it was love at first sight, but he decided to let go of the impossible feeling and accept reality. This story is called You're the Apple of My Eyes. During class, Jinwoo caused trouble as usual by spilling milk that dripped onto Sha's chair. As a result, the three of them were punished. Sha became annoyed with Jinwoo for getting her into trouble. Later, during physical education, Sha's friend Jisoo performed a new dance she had learned. Sha complimented her, but Jinwoo made fun of the dance, angering Sha. She told him that people who never try will never get anywhere. Jinwoo replied that he was lazy by choice because he could easily succeed if he tried. That night at home, Jinwoo's mother scolded him for not studying, but his father supported him, saying he should do what made him happy. The next day in economics class, their teacher, Mr. Joe, announced a surprise quiz and asked for homework to be handed in. Sha had forgotten hers and looked worried. Jinwoo gave her his homework, and as a result, he was barred from the quiz. Sha wondered why he did it, not knowing he just wanted to skip the quiz. During a break, Sha thanked him. Jinwoo joked that if she really wanted to thank him, she should give him a gift. When she later opened his book, she found a note where he wrote that he had no dream. She asked him if that was why he never studied, but he avoided the question and went to play basketball. Sunbin, seeing Sha talk to Jinwoo, grew jealous and told Jinwoo to stay away from her. After the break, Sha gave Jinwoo her notebook with test predictions. Jinwoo got angry, saying she sounded like his mother, always pressuring him. He said it was better to be lazy than to put in effort and risk being used. That night, after boxing practice, he looked at the notebook and was surprised that Sha, unlike his friends, believed in him. He started reading her notes and was impressed by her neat handwriting. He found himself studying the notes without realizing it. The next day, for the school festival, everyone wore traditional clothing. Sha looked stunning, and for the first time, Jinwoo's feelings for her grew. That night, he asked his father if studying was important, which surprised his dad. The next day, Sha found that Jinwoo had solved all the problems in her notebook. He was exhausted from staying up all night. He continued to study with her notes, finding the math problems hard but persevering. When the test results were announced, everyone was shocked to hear that Jinwoo had scored above average for the first time. Weeks later, the students went on a study tour. During free time, Jinwoo played with his friends, and Sunbin, out of jealousy, insulted him. The situation escalated into a fight. The next day, they were back to being friends. At lunch, Pyongju told a ghost story that scared everyone, including Sha. In class, Sha asked Jinwoo to be her study partner. They made a bet. If he scored higher on the next test, she would let her hair down. If she won, he would have to cut his hair short. They began studying together, and Jinwoo worked harder than before. He also started to see new qualities in Sha that made her special. Sha won the bet, and Jinwoo had to cut his hair. One evening, Sha was studying alone when the lights went out. Jinwoo, who had stayed behind, appeared to be with her. Seeing his new haircut, she laughed, and he walked her home. On the way, their hands brushed, and a new feeling grew between them. Jinwoo realized he was in love. When Sha's bag fell, he helped her pick up her belongings and saw many love letters, reminding him of his rivals. It started to rain, and they took shelter. To ease the tension, Jinwoo splashed water at her, and she splashed back. They both ended up laughing in the rain. That night, Jinwoo realized that even if he couldn't win her heart, making her happy was enough. The next day, to his surprise, Sha came to school with her hair down. He was confused because he had lost the bet, yet she gave him the prize. After school, Jinwoo was sad to find his father had washed his uniform, as he had wanted to keep it unwashed to preserve the memory of the rainy day with Sha. Jin Woo began his final year of high school in a different class from Sha, but he still held on to his feelings. He focused on studying with her, and they shared a dream of going to university in Seoul. When the college entrance exam day arrived, they both felt the pressure. After the exam, they celebrated with their friends at a carnival and on the beach. During this time, Sunbin tried to confess his feelings to Sha, but Jin Woo interrupted him. As the day ended, the group talked about their futures. A month later, Jin Woo was happy to find he had scored well enough to go to university in Seoul. That night, Sha called him, crying because her score was lower than she expected. Wanting to cheer her up, Jin Woo awkwardly confessed his feelings, but this only made her more upset. At graduation, all his friends had been accepted into a university, but only Jin Woo was going to Seoul, while Sha stayed in her hometown. On their walk home, he wanted to confess again, but was afraid of ruining their friendship. Instead, he gave her a bracelet as a special gift. Their lives went in different directions, but Jin Woo's feelings for her never faded. He kept up with her on social media and noticed a new guy in her photos, which made him jealous. One day, Sha called to say she was coming to Seoul and wanted to meet. Jin Woo was overjoyed. When they met, he took her to a restaurant and ordered a couple's meal, making the atmosphere awkward but special. In a park, she told him she wasn't perfect and asked if he truly liked her despite her flaws. He didn't know how to respond, but he knew his love wasn't about her perfection. He loved her because she was the only one who believed in him. They grew closer, texting daily. Jin Woo, known for being reckless, decided to join an MMA competition. Sha disapproved, but he went ahead with it. He lost the fight and was badly beaten. Sha, upset, left, and he chased after her. When a group of students bothered Sha, Jin Woo tried to fight them, only to be beaten again. Sha got angry, telling him he was still childish. He apologized, feeling he was not good enough for her, and walked away. After their fight, their friends noticed the distance between them. Sunbin took advantage of the situation, spending time with Sha. Meanwhile, Jin Woo and Taewon, who was also rejected, drank together. Taewon told him that Sungbin and Sha were getting close. This made Jin Woo realize that Sungbin was wealthier and more mature, and if he wanted a chance with Sha, he had to change. He decided to join the military to become a better man. During his service, he longed for Sha, believing a man should be worthy of the woman he loves. A year later, he heard Sha's hometown was flooded and desperately tried to call her, getting punished for using his superior's phone. He finally reached her and was relieved to know she was safe. They talked, and he learned she had never dated Sungbin. She told him that he was the only man who had ever truly loved her for who she was. She asked him why he never gave her a chance to share her feelings. He admitted he was too afraid of rejection. Their conversation ended when her phone died. Another year passed, and Jin Woo completed his service. He became a successful comic artist. He still loved Sha and planned to go back to her, but before he could, she called to tell him she was getting married. On her wedding day, everyone was sad that Sha was marrying someone else, including Sunbin. But Jin Woo felt true love was about wanting her to be happy, even with another person. During the photos, he suddenly kissed the groom. For him, it was a way to let go of his years of anger and regret. It was a final goodbye to the love they shared. The truth was, Sha had always felt the same way. She had wanted him to confess and ask her to be his girlfriend, but misunderstandings and their fear of taking a chance kept them apart. They didn't end up together, but they were both thankful for the time they shared. Jin Woo learned that some people are meant to be cherished memories. The moral is that even a lazy person can surprise others and find a little bit of love.